Yes, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's market snapshot edition as we come to end the week or conclude the trading week and its activities. Well, I hope you guys had a beautiful week, an amazing week, and let's just see what the market has in store for us today and where the opportunities will be lying. So I'm going to just give about a minute or two for a few of our colleagues to join in, and then we can get underway with it. Meantime, don't forget to share and like the live with your colleagues so that they don't get to miss out on our market insights that happen every morning at 11 a.m. Monday to Friday. So in the meantime, I'm going to speak briefly on what has been moving this week. So we all know our NFP last week was very negative for that dollar, with 73,000 jobs being reported. And we did see Trump go ahead to fire the head of labor statistics last week, and that position is open. In the meantime, it's also expected to choose the next Fed chair who will come and sit in next year when Jerome Powell's term actually comes to an end. Just a second. Okay. So today is a Friday and the last day of the week. We have been seeing some kind of dollar strength, and we're going to first look and see what would be influencing the market to have that dollar strength coming in as Trump continues his pursuit on tariffs and deals with major economies that we have been seeing move the market for a bit. As you all know, last time when NFP was there, we basically had a tariff influenced NFP, and of course the sentiment was already negative for the dollar based on the tariffs that Trump had just imposed 2 hours earlier than that day there. So as far as today is concerned, we can start by looking at our calendar to see our what news we might expect, what high impact news you may want to watch out for during your activities in the market today. So as far as we see, this only have the Canadian unemployment rate that will be coming out at 3:30 p.m. So we should definitely expect some kind of volatility coming into the market at that particular time as well. Should expect some kind of volatility. Besides that, there is no much activity going on except for the fact that the world is watching Trump's kind of negotiation, or the US negotiations are with Russia, or the discussions they are having. There wouldn't be negotiations yet, but we understand they're having discussions with Putin to try and see what they can do, because Trump threatened to put up to 100% tariffs on countries that purchase oil from Russia, and the first one he hit was India with 25% tariffs. And we all know it's because India capitalizes on Russian oil. They buy it and resell it at a profit. So today we don't have any major other news events that may be moving the markets. We basically have just that. That may probably be what to watch out for in case he makes any advertisement, any announcement. He tends to put the announcements on Truth Social. Unfortunately, for many of us in the African continents, we do not have access to Truth Social. Yeah, so we're going to just go ahead and look at our technical analysis and see what the market is looking like and where the opportunities will definitely be lying through the day. So let me just share my MT5 or my charts in a minute. Then we can kick off from there and see where the opportunities may definitely lie. So we're going to have a reflection on some of the analysis we looked at on every single pair from last week, from Tuesday actually, because we had a session on Tuesday. So starting with this US dollar index. So I think I was explaining about this breakout, and we're seeing this push to the downside because we did see the dollar index come and break out of this area, and we had this arrow showing it to the downside that would see a breakout, a retest, and probably a push targeting this demand level over here, and we can see that push is still continuous. So we're going to reanalyze. This was just our last week's and our Tuesday's analysis this same week. We're going to reanalyze and see if the market has changed or if we can still carry the same ideology through today's trading activities. So as usual, we start from a higher time frame, and I love to start from the daily time frame. So I'm going to start from a daily time frame. In this perspective, let me zoom this in. So let me zoom this in. So as we can see, we did have a break of structure in this area, price creating a new high, and then we saw that NFP come in and push price to the downside. And before we see another push to the upside to continue influencing the dollar recovery, we expect price to retrace all the way to a valid demand level. Now, this was the perspective we had, and it was why we had that anticipation that if price had broken those lows that we had around here on Tuesday, it was going to continue pushing down to the extreme demand level. So coming down to the 1 hour time frame, we are going to look for what demand levels are available. So we did have this demand level in focus. Let me just do this auto scroll and put it off. So we did have this demand level here in 1 hour time frame. There is a couple of them, but then we have two main ones we wanted to focus on. One would be this demand level over here, and then the one right below that. These are the demand levels we would want price to push towards before we look for that buying decision, or we'd look for a decision, probably taking longs on this particular dollar index. So this is the area we'd want to target, these two areas. Now these are decision levels or areas of interest. So basically you're going to be watching to see if price can get to them and give you some sort of bullish confirmation. So this is going to be our areas of interest, just as we had in the previous session on Tuesday. We are going to still keep them because we see that price did break below this resistance area and gave us a nice retracement and kept pushing to the downside as anticipated. So this was a support level, sorry, that we had that now turned to resistance, and then it gave us a supply level right over here that price retraced to. So you can see the supply level is like a doji candlestick, but you can see that it's bullish. Let me just zoom this in for a second. So as you can see, price broke out of that support level, so it becomes resistance and left us this supply level here like a doji candlestick with a beautiful engulfing pattern to the downside, making it a nice supply level. So having had that level there, we would have anticipated that price had to retrace to it and continue pushing to the downside. So we had this first push and failed to give us a breakout from this level here. It didn't give us the breakout we were looking for at this level here. It simply rejected and then rejected back into a supply level that we have right above here. So because we are targeting the downside, we want to focus more on supply levels that can enable push price to this demand level we have right below here. So this will be our demand level. So let me just name that in and demand level. So these demand levels, as I keep telling you guys, they're just decision levels. It's not a must that when price gets to it, you just try looking for how to enter the market. You want to probably have a confirmation you're going to be looking for, or a condition you're going to wait for when price is in that desired area to continue. So here price came to this supply level, and then it's now pushing to the downside. So let's look at where some intraday opportunities may be lying. So right now we are seeing price pushing. So you can also use demand levels as possible targets to see what price is going to do. So we have this area here, or this current demand level. You can see it either offer retracement or price may just break below it. But what we would love to see if we are to push to the downside would be price breaking below this area and then giving us a nice retracement to a supply level that has been formed above before it now pushes all the way down to our desired demand. Now, when you watch this movement to the upside, we also have another supply level. This now on a 15-minute time frame. We have the supply level above here that can enable us to push price to the downside. But for me to consider that, I would want price to respect the current demand, push to that supply, and then consequently give me that move to the demand level I'm looking at. So these are the two perspectives I'll be looking at into the dollar index coming in today. And we expect to find some volatility in the markets at around 3:30 p.m. when the Canadian unemployment rates are being released out. So this is something I would really love to see. Price doing one of the two things as well. So of course, you know that when price gets to this level, it's a decision level. You'd want to have a confirmation criteria to be able to engage in that particular zone. So these are just areas we're going to watch. You can use them as areas of interest just to watch them, or you can as well use them as areas as targets. For example, if price comes to a supply zone like it came to this and it's pushing, you can target the fresh demand level below that to take a decision from. So we have that perspective on the dollar index. Now, once again, as I keep telling you guys, we always use this dollar index to try and gauge what would see on the dollar related pairs, particularly GP USD, Euro USD, pairs like NZD USD, USD CAD. Yeah, those kinds of pairs. Don't try to do this a lot on gold. Gold tends to break correlations unless there's a major news event that affects the dollar in general. That's when it usually tends to perfectly align with the dollar index. So moving a bit away from the dollar index, we can now dive into our dollar pairs. So this is one of the perspectives we had. And I remember telling you if the DXY sells, we are going to see a breakout of this area, break of this trend line, then a nice retest. And price had some good demand level here where it retested and gave us that push to the upside. A very beautiful price action over there. So this was something we looked at on Tuesday's price action. And the perspective is not going to be any different. We're going to just look for areas that price could definitely be targeting. It continues pushing. So similarly to that, we can see that in this side price did have a breakout as well, giving us this retracement around these areas. So now we are going to be focusing on seeing if price can get to this extreme supply level here to try and see if it can align with our dollar index outlook. So when I come to 1 hour time frame, I'm able to refine this supply level to this extreme zone over here, and to be my overall target. So coming down onto what price is currently doing, it has been pushing to the upside. It did come and respect a demand level here. Remember, this pair is supposed to be doing opposite of what the dollar index that we have just seen is doing. So that's what we are looking at right now. So price came to this demand level, fresh nice demand level, and trying to push to the upside. It did give us a nice breakout from here. And then we are seeing this retracement coming into this area of liquidity that price left for us, and now it's pushing to the upside. So what we would want to see on this pair, this is Euro USD. We would love to see a nice beautiful break above this area here. We have a nice beautiful break. When I say a beautiful break above that wick, I'm speaking about a candlestick closure above that particular wick over there, or that high. After we start, we'd want to anticipate for our retracement into this area of liquidity, and then consequently a push to the upside towards our target as well. That would be something very nice to see. A price pushing all the way to the upside after giving us a nice breakout of that. So as you all know, this whole level here, we can refine this decision level because price hasn't yet mitigated fully this demand level. This demand level here hasn't, the area of liquidity has been gotten into, but the demand level particularly, price hasn't gotten into it. So what we would see here alternatively would be price coming into this demand level before it actually gives us that bullish reaction to the upside. This would be another beautiful thing to watch out for. Remember, it's a decision level, so you want price to come to it, and you definitely want to factor in or look for some kind of confirmations as well. All right, so this is on Euro USD, and this outlooks we want to look at going in intraday or going into today's market are opportunities. So I want to see if this can align beautifully with GPUSD or a similarly related dollar index pair. So we are going to see what GPUSD has. So you're able to gauge which one has a much more clearer structure for you to take up the opportunities and then be able to base on those. So we had this price actually broke out of this zone, and then consequently is pushing to the upside, similar to what your USD is doing as well. So we want to see if we can build up on that similar analysis and see if we can tend to align these together. So now coming in from the daily time frame, we still see a similar breakout to the downside, just like the one we have seen on Euro USD. So we did see this breakout to the downside. Then with this one, you can actually see a nice, beautiful trend line forming around there, and you can see where it's forming. We have the breakout, you have the trend line, and we're having the retracement that's currently in play. So coming down to a 1 hour time frame, we want to look for zones around that area. Can price want to or be able to give us some kind of decisions or some reactions where we can be able to capitalize. When I look at my far left here, I'm seeing some levels with high demand. As you can see, they have an area like this. Then we have an area slightly above it. So now with this, don't worry about the trend line. Price can come slightly above the trend line, then still go back into that trend line. Some people tend to call it a fake out or a sweep. There's a lot of terms that people tend to use when it comes to that. But in order for price to really be bullish on this, to have to break above all these zones and above the trend line, then you can say a retest around those zones to push to the upside. In the time being, these are decision levels where you can decide to look for selling confirmations just in case the market happens to offer us any of them. So personally, what I'll be looking for in this would be price coming to this demand level, supply level, sorry. Basically, because it's fresh, price then tapped into it. This current area of consideration had a lot of kind of liquidity around it, and price has already come into it strongly. So that area I would really want to pay much attention to. But in order for me to take attention with this particular area, the conditions I would want to look for would be when I look at the 1 hour time frame over here. So let me just zoom this in for a second. The conditions we would want to look for your sales will be price breaking below this low. Okay, actually there's another low price has created here. So when price creates these intermediate lows, you can also be able to use them to probably as areas of interest to push to the downside. So we'd want something like this, then a retracement, and then a push to the downside. That's in case price turns bearish within today's price action. This is a 1 hour time frame. But alternatively, this is the area we want to target to look for selling opportunities or selling confirmations that we can try and be able to capitalize on when the market offers them or price decides to give us confirmations within those areas. The desired area is one above that. I think it makes more sense. This would be the best possible area of consideration to look for selling opportunities are within slightly above the trend line, which is a fake out. That means there would have been a sweep of buy side, that's buy side liquidity, which is also a good sign for guys who have been trading liquidity concepts and looking deeply into how the market tends to engineer liquidity and then take a desired direction. So GP USD, we don't have a very different perspective from Euro USD. It's price basically moving up a bit into an area of interest and then consequently pushing to the downside. So that will be the most desired perspective. Price pushes and then now comes in to push to the downside. So that's as far as GBP USD and Euro USD are concerned. You're able to see and gauge what pair will work best for your confirmation or your strategy as well that you can continue with. So moving a bit away from that, let's move to the dollar itself. So this is the dollar. Sorry, the gold. Let's move to gold. This is gold. ZAR USD. This is a bit of our analysis from Tuesday this week. So I'm going to just do away with it. Then we can look at what the market is moving. In the meantime, I'd like to remind you guys that don't forget to sign up for the free workshops, daily workshops. If you're in Uganda and Tanzania, the physical free daily workshops in those different locations. And if you're in Kenya, we have online sessions as well. All the links are in the description, so do not forget to check them out and choose the ones that are best suited for your level of trading. You could be a beginner, you could be an intermediate, or as well an advanced trader. We have you covered. So now looking at gold, we can set above here. There is an area of supply, right? But as we all know that when tariffs are on, gold tends to be so bullish because investors are looking to deleverage on currency and bonds and try to put their money into a safe haven asset like gold. So because our gold is going to be appreciating, we can use the supply level basically as a target area, not more of an area of interest, because you don't want to be selling when the market's actually showing you some kind of bullish momentum, and we're seeing bullish conditions throughout the Trump policies and all that. We're seeing the urge for investors to actually run to gold as a safe haven currency, so you can easily see a break above the supply level. In the meantime, this is a 4-hour time frame. We want to see what the lower time frames will definitely have in stock for us. Looking at the current price action, we do see a break above this area. Price has swept this small supply level, so you can anticipate for that retracement. And I'm seeing a demand level that I'd really like to take advantage of. From here, there is this demand level. So you can look for price definitely come into that area, and then you have this demand level as your area of consideration, or the area you're going to be watching out for take confirmations. Now, if this is a 30-minute time frame, when you're going to factor in your confirmations, you want to definitely use a well lower time frame. I would advise you skip a time frame from this 30 minutes, you go to a 5 minute, because a bit more volatile, offers a bit more price action. It's easier to understand when a trend is starting or it's now choosing a particular direction, as long as it's in your area of interest. So when price gets to that zone, it would be nice to probably look for a confirmation that will support the bullish bias and the bullish narrative of that area of interest that we can see over there. So this, as far as gold is concerned, these are the outlooks we want. So days are Friday, the market tends to be a bit slow, but we can still some volatility coming in, especially during the day and during that New York session area, because you'll have the card news and it will tend to affect some of these pairs, especially US oil and gold will be affected a bit. So you may want to watch out for that going into today's trading activities. All right, so now that you have looked at what the gold outlook would generally be like, let's drift a bit away from dollar-related pairs and look at the Japanese yen-related pair, and this is going to be GBP or JPY. So let me just get rid of these drawings we already having. All right, so let's look at the H4. Let's look at the daily first. The daily would be more significant. So GPJPY was quite bullish for quite a long period of time. And then you can see that it had this whole build up, and you could see this trend line that was just holding price above it. Now you can start in the future here, price eventually gives you that breakout and that nice retest and leaves you with a supply zone. So after price came out of the supply zone, you can see that this was a high momentum breakout. So what you would anticipate after that high momentum breakout would be a slight retracement back into the supply zone, so that you can be able to look for a desired confirmation pattern or criteria to try and be able to take up some opportunities when price eventually gets to that zone. So in the time being, what we are going to look at is going to be identifying our supply levels within or inside this general supply level, kind of like a refinement, because that was a daily time frame. Now this is a 1 hour time frame. So when I look clearly, I'm only seeing two supply levels that will work as my areas of interest or areas of consideration, from where I'll be looking to get some confirmations if I'm going to be able to continue selling this pair. Remember, at this time we're expecting some kind of bullishness moving forward uh, into moving forward from now onwards, because we did see a Trump sign a Japanese deal, I think 2 weeks ago, and that was meant to actually help the Japanese yen also recover, because now there is a standing relation between the USA and Japan. So the supply levels, you'd want to look more of the selling opportunities. Let me see this. So from this supply level, as you can see, price, I tried to respect it, push down, failed to pick up enough liquidity, and now it's trying to push to the upside. So in order for us to take sales off of it, we want to see a nice break below these lows, and then a retracement to a supply level again, and then a push to the downside. That would have been the most desired price action to get out of this area here, in order to, in terms of confirmation or in terms of seeing that area is going to hold. The other thing you'd want to look at, or you can have as a confidence booster in case price does that, the tool I'm looking for here, an ellipse here. We can clearly notice that when price You can see clearly that here price is giving us some kind of corrective price action, which means it's in kind of a retracement. Now, these retracements happen a lot after we have a high momentum breakout or a high momentum break of structure, which is this. So you look for the supply levels responsible for that supply or that breakout, then you're able to wait for that correction move. Now, this price action is usually good because it shows that the most recent valid area of supply is most likely going to hold. It's not a must, it shouldn't be cram work, but then showing that price is most likely going to respect that area when it eventually comes back to that particular zone. So all you want to do is to wait for some nice confirmations. When price gets to that zone, after its corrective move, and give you another impulsive move to the downside. Though we are seeing sentiment shifting a little bit within this area, we still anticipate a strong Japanese yen. But based on this sentiment, you want to be careful with how you trade or how you pick up your confirmations within that first zone. The best desired would then, in this case, be the one above, but it's not by default. It's not by chroma code default that price must go back to that zone. It's not a must. Price can decide to give us a shift from here and then push back into a supply level within that, and then continuously keep that drop to the downside, which is quite okay. You can always be able to learn how to capitalize on that or see where the opportunities are lying in that particular perspective. So as far as GPJPY is concerned, these are the outlooks we'd like to have. We have those two zones where we can anticipate price is going to give us some reactions or give us some confirmations that we can usually use to partake into the market activities of the day. So moving a bit from that, let's look at another cross pair. In this case, I think I would fancy going with JPNZD. So this was the analysis we had from last time on Tuesday. Sorry, this week on Tuesday, not last week. I keep saying last week because I'm used to hosting the Tuesday sessions, but it's quite okay. I believe you get the point. On Tuesday, we did have this analysis, and we had these two zones here where I expect price to come back into one of them, and definitely try to see if we can pick up a confirmation to take up those trades or take up some trading opportunities within that day's price action or market conditions. Now we are GPNZD, or the Great British Pound, and the New Zealand dollar. And the first thing we want to do is always come from a high time frame. Very, very key, very, very important. You don't want to leave that out of your trading activities every single day. When you want to achieve what they call top-down analysis, you're going to basically try to achieve a mechanical setup. And mechanical setups are reliant on two things. One is market structure. Two is our time frame coordination. So when I say time frame coordination, I basically mean aligning your structures with different time frames. For example, if I go to a daily time frame and I'm just looking for higher highs and higher lows, that's quite okay. When I go to the second time frame or the lower time frame than that, I can be looking for areas of interest. And the third time frame, I would be waiting to definitely do something like get a confirmation pattern or refine my area of interest to reduce the amount of risk. That I will be to reduce the amount of risk that I may probably be exposing my account to. Now, risk management is very, very key. I think I was having an encounter with a few traders about 2 days back, and these guys are complaining of how the market conditions are unfavorable. But at the end of the day, when I looked at their trading history, it was just how they were managing their risks, because our strategies and concepts can become inconsistent over a period of time, right? Because let's take, for example, there's a period of time when the markets are going to be so volatile, and somebody who's scalping or using those 5-minute, 3-minute is going to face a lot of stop losses because the market is so volatile. You could take, for example, whenever Trump is announcing tariffs, you can have like a day or two of very unstable volatility, and yet somebody wants to trade. The only way you're going to be safe in those conditions is if you reduce how much risk you're exposing your account to on every single trade you take, because you will not know when this guy is going to place a tweet, going to anything. And I keep telling them that Trump, as much as making millionaires in his regimes, he's also sponsoring stop losses, and of course other trading carriers is costing them. But that happens because these people refuse to manage risks consequently. These times you need to just manage risks, because of course if you can save your account today by reducing your risk, tomorrow you're going to have more money to use to trade or to pick up some more opportunities. So that's something I would urge you guys to be very keen about every single time. So GPNZ is a daily time frame. It has been in this consolidation for quite some time. So the price action is not something very desirable. So the other thing you need to learn to do is that sometimes you need to understand when a market conditions are not the best for you to look for opportunities. So personally, usually when I'm looking for opportunities on pairs like GPNZD, I'm going to look for short-term opportunities because sometimes when they tend to consolidate, it can take quite some time. Like they will just, I don't know, say it can be in a range for a few months. So we are seeing the similar thing with this. I'm trying to draw an ellipse and it's not showing up. I don't know why. Okay, now it has shown up. So you can see that for quite some time, this is probably close to 2 months, we have been within this range. Price is not really up going beyond that range or going below it. So you can see we have that kind of thing. I don't even think it's a pattern. It's just that it's almost forming a wedge pattern. But then what you can see is that with the wedge pattern, it's always a neutral thing. If price breaks above and gives you a good story at the upside, it will go to the upside. This is an area where they're just picking up liquidity. But remember, this is a daily time frame. So a daily time frame just shows that it's not favorable for you to have a long-term trades within this area, and also that when in a consolidation, you have to be careful with what opportunities you take. So after identifying this, we're going to go down to our let's use a 4-hour first today. So when you use a 4-hour time frame, we want to see what kind of structures price is forming consequently. So as we can see, price did give us a breakout from here, nice breakout. Expect a nice good retracement. So you could set here where the good correction move, and price did give some opportunities based off this supply level because we had this correction move, right? But then now price respects it to a demand level, then now comes and breaks above it. So now we can easily see that price is now looking to go higher. So I think last time when I was here on Tuesday, I spoke about the QM pattern or the quasi model, and this is what the quasi model, it's like a head and shoulder pattern. So right now I have this quasi model and it's going to be my definite target intraday because I've seen that the daily time frame is in this whole big consolidation range. So now when I'm targeting this area, that means I'm going to go down to a lower time frame and see do I have conditions that are going to lead me to that particular area. So when I come to this particular area, what do I see? Price gave us another nice beautiful breakout on the 1 hour time, on the 30-minute time frame. Nice breakout. And then before the breakout, we have a demand level that is responsible or that is sponsoring. We have this demand level sponsoring the current bullish moves, which is quite good. And here you can take some kind of trend line. Price breaks above it, and these are all good signs for me to look for that bullish opportunities. So price left me this demand level. So what I would love to see is price to later on retrace. Sometimes to go a bit higher, and then eventually retrace to this zone before it gives us that impulse to the desired take profit level. So this is something I would really want to watch out for when it comes to GPNZD as far as the structures are concerned. So that's GPNZD, and that's the outlook I'm generally having on GPNZD. So let's look at Bitcoin, then we shall come to, I think, one more pair after that. You can put what pairs you'd like me to look at in the comment section. I'll be glad to look at them as well. So this Bitcoin, and we are seeing that it's giving us this nice push to the upside. So let me just get rid of these. So we're coming from a daily time frame on this BTC pair. As you all know, somewhere within last month, Bitcoin did form new all-time highs to about 120.23, 123, 329, right? 398, sorry. So now we are seeing that price on a daily time frame has been bullish for the past 2 days, and today we have begun very bearish. What could be influencing these bears? We expect this price eventually, of course, to give us a retracement or to give us that push into this demand level to work as our target. We had this breakout, you expect a retracement into these demand levels. So we have those whole demand levels and price has pushed all the way towards them. And right now what we'd want to gauge for is that, sorry, one more thing, there is a demand level right below this that could either act as a target or a demand zone. So first and foremost, you're going to look at the lower time frames, see what conditions the market is giving at. Is it edging lower to our demand level? When you look at the price action in the 1 hour time frame, Price gave us a breakout here and gave us a second breakout, and then give us a short immediate retracement to the second breakout. And you can easily see that now price is looking to price lower to our areas of interest that we just marked out. So in terms of what, you're also going to be watching this demand level here, because it's very, very fresh and price can actually use it just to change the whole market sentiment. So once that price pushes to this area, definitely give us some kind of retracement and pushes then lower into this desired zone. Alternatively, price can break out of this zone, retest, and continue that rally to the upside. That's an alternative you'd want to look out for. So in terms of marking our areas of consideration when it comes to BTC USD, so we have this general demand level that price formed there. Besides that, we're going to have a level right below this that price could definitely target in case it fail, in case the one above here actually fails to hold price. We can see it target this demand level before it definitely spirals up to the upside. That would be something nice and beautiful to watch out for. You can continue those bulls. Besides that, there is still high potential for price to actually give us a deeper retracement than that. As you know, Bitcoin is, how would I say, it's very unpredictable. So it can decide to just push below these areas, retest them, and push to the downside. But this zone has a beautiful confluences from a demand level to our trend line. Those are the things I like to see in the market, and you can be able to use them to try and capitalize on the market opportunities. So that's something that would want to actually look out for going into the market today. Though still, we still see a deeper retracement alternatively to this extreme demand levels. This would be something more interesting to watch if price can give us this kind of retracement to its demanding levels or those decision levels we're having right below that. So, in the meantime, if you have any questions, kindly drop them in the comment section, and then I'll see how I can get into them, or one at a time, and so we can get them answered as well. If you have any questions beside that, in the meantime, I would like to remind our guys who are beginners to the market, or you know someone who's a beginner and they need our free resources. We do have an 8 p.m. session Monday to Thursday that's specifically meant to focus on people who are new to the markets. Robert hosts it, and trust me, it helps them a lot to know what the market's about, how to have the right mindset, how to use the different tools, and yeah, it will be very helpful for anyone who's new to the markets. You know someone, kindly refer to them. The links are all in the description as well. USD JPY also, we didn't look at this, right? USD JPY, that comes from the, so this was our analysis from last Tuesday. Very beautiful analysis. Did see price come to our QM level? Remember I mentioned that QM level, this is what I explained about the QM level. That day price came to it, pushed, came to this demand level. Remember the decision levels, so you want to take them off entirely. Confirmations, push to this, then push to the upside and fail to give us that breakout. So similar to GPNZD, I'm going to take this as a pair that's in a consolidation. This one a 1 hour time frame. This is our support level. You can see it's a very strong support level. That there would be to see price break to the upside. But just for context, if you remember GPJPY, we looked at it a bit earlier. But GPJPY, there's a potential that price could come to this extreme supply level, and you can see that this push is happening right now. So in USDJPY, we are going to see a similar movement. But unfortunately for USDJPY, I'm not seeing our demand level right above that. Let me just do a chart. Auto scroll off. So right above this, so you have no demand level, right? So similar to how we do GPUSD and USDJPY, if we see price break above both the supply levels, sorry, the supply levels, not demand. We have an engulfing right here that price is into and it's looking to break it. If price breaks above this, we can easily anticipate that price is going to try and break above this high. If we see that break above this high, then we can just know that this pair is going to be bullish. Remember, this becomes bullish based off dollar strength. So if the dollar gains some strength, because the dollar is stronger than the Japanese yen, we're definitely going to see USD push all the way to the upside. Unlike the pound may have some difference in reactions because they're not, the pound is still stronger than the Japanese yen, but the Japanese yen right now may be having more business than them. So the pound tends to influence what happens on GPJPY, but you can see something similar with this. So I would want to see if price respects this remaining zone. Remember, it's also a QM pattern. So if we see price come in and respect it, beautiful, because here price did respect it the first time. but then you can as well see a push above and then a push continuing. We have a very beautiful range up this side. That's something you may want to watch out for. So we have this consolidation. You want to have breakout to the upside or the other way around. So besides that, let me see, that's USDJPY. That's the perspective I'm having right now. That's the perspective I'm having right now. The other thing you can try it out as a confluence would be, we can see a beautiful trend line forming up. So trend lines are effective when you use them as a confluence. That's why I tend to confluence them every single time. You won't always see them on the chart, but then they are very, um, effective and very helpful. So that's a question from Dismas Bikondo. Any other questions? Let me see another question here. So, US Tech, yeah. I wanted to end with US Tech, so here it is. UT roll 500. Yeah, so right now in context, we're going to see ourselves brace for a long-term bullish US Tech or Nasdaq, basically because we did see Trump announce an amazing deal with Apple 2 weeks ago. And you know that Apple is willing now to invest in AI. AI is one of their biggest strongholds. It's going to be one of their selling points for their next generation of gadgets from iOS 26 and all these things, which is going to be a very big plus for these guys. When I mentioned that Apple did sign a deal that affects the market 2 days ago, what do you see here? The past 2 days were just bullish. After Trump announces or signs that deal with Tim Cook, we saw that happening. So right now I'm still looking at the bulls on this pair here, unless Trump announces tariffs on chips, because he threatened to tariff the chip manufacturers. So I'm having this high. I'm looking to take out this high. The supply level is probably not going to hold. You can see the momentum coming into it is really, really big. So you can see a beautiful breakout of that area there. You can see a breakout above that area. So this is our daily time frame. Let's use a 4 hour then. We shall use it for our. So we did see a breakout of this zone and then a nice beautiful retest. Now this breakout happen and have a retest from here because just like, I don't know, guys who are familiar with ICT, you've heard of a breaker block. And guys who have done supply and demand, you know that when a failed supply level becomes a demand level. And sometimes if the break is in line with a higher time frame trend, and the break is also like has high momentum, it could be one very big candle breaking out, or it could be the same candlestick, the same color, breaking out of that zone or demand or supply level. We tend to see a retracement at that same level. So this thing here, guys call it a breaker block in ICT. A breaker block in supply and demand could say fail supply, fail demand. Then there is a saying that accompanies it. Failed sell setup is the best buy setup. It shouldn't necessarily fail, but you can see one where one failed and capitalize on it. And here's what happened. And we call this a pure bullish trend where price respects the breakout areas. So here we can see price is pushing to the upside on a 4 hour time frame. We'd want to take out these 4 hour highs. So let's reduce the time frame a bit and see what would price need to do in order to break above those heights or to achieve those targets. So we can set there's a demand level below here, but it's so far down. It's so far down. I highly doubt price will come this low unless otherwise. But right now, price has left us with a small intermediate at demand level. Remember, demand levels are strictly for confirmation. You use them to gauge to see when price comes to this, can I look for some opportunities? What conditions should I see to take up the opportunities when price gets to these zones? So Nasdaq, I'm US Tech or Nasdaq. I'm very, very bullish and I'm looking for retracement to this area probably. Then I push to the upside. Alternatively, we can see our price tried from some kind of trend line. We're currently seeing a break above it. So I'd want to have at this level here. Then I'm looking for the best possible opportunities. A level there, probably in the New York session, we break above it, then give us a nice retracement or retest that can later on push our pair to the upside. So this is the outlook I would be having. ZAO USD or gold. So we did look at gold a few minutes back, and this was the perspective I had on gold. We are seeing prices pushing towards this demand level. We can see it pushing to the upside, basically, because even on the I wouldn't want to correlate this to the dollar index, but I'm not going to do that. But this is the outlook I'm having on ZAO USD. This is the outlook I'm having on ZAO USD or gold. Yeah, so that's Julius. This is the outlook we are having. One price to push slightly higher, and we'll see it break above that. So of course, any break below this zone, remember it's a decision level. This is a 30-minute time frame. So when price gets here, you want to look for a confirmation of 5 or 3-minute time frame. That's very, very crucial. Or some people prefer to refine. If I'm to refine, I'll have a zone like around here, something around that. I have some kind of liquidity engineering because price did sweep the previous low, then go to the upside. It's signaling that there's big institutional involvement at that zone. So it's a little bit where they would want to protect their money from. So that's my outlook on ZAR USD, or call it gold. So that's as far as Julia's question is concerned. So besides that, I would like to remind you guys that at 3 p.m. today, I'll have a question and answer session. So all your questions, any queries you have at 3 p.m. on TikTok, the FX Pesa TikTok channel, make sure you're subscribed, and do not forget to share it as well with your friends. Come with all your questions. I'll be free and willing to answer them. We shall look at how the market would have moved a bit based on today's morning's analysis, all the analysis we have just done. We shall see where the market will be at, and don't forget the time will be 3 p.m. So until then, cheers, guys. Cheers, guys. So besides all that, I was saying cheers, and then don't forget that at 3 p.m. we shall have that session as well.